Hello, everyone. He's Mel Cherrygate from Whoever You Art podcast. And today, actually, I have an artist, and her name is Catherine. And we were talking a little bit now before recording, as I usually do, to get to know my guests a little better and about their journey. And she's 39 years sober, which is crazy for me and so awesome. So, hi, Catherine. Thank you for coming here
Thank you for having me.
and congratulations on your 39 years. It's
Thank you.
awesome.
Thank you.
So, tell us a little bit about your journey and how art have helped you through it, and actually like how did it all begin, and how do you get like 39 years sober?
That's a good question. Well, it's good to be here. It's good to meet another human that's in curiosity about
Mm,
life. I feel like recovery is about curiosity and discovery. I've heard other people say it too, like I have 39 years of discovery about what it's like to be like in life without using no matter what. Um,
that's awesome.
But my background is that at 13 years old, I was taken out of a class because the teacher thought I had a learning disability, and my mom said my children don't have learning disabilities. And she took me out of that class and put me in another class, and I was around a whole new group of people that I'd not known before, and I had social anxiety maybe for the first time. And I really desperately wanted to fit in. And it was
Mm-hmm.
junior high, so of course, like, it's brutal. And
Mm-hmm.
so I had my first drink trying to fit in with that group of people that was already drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember having that first drink and feeling the anxiety lift. And I felt that warm feeling all over my body and just like a relaxed feeling
Yeah,
of,
yeah, yeah.
and at home, my home life was absolutely awful. And I didn't feel like I belonged in my own home. Like I didn't relate to my family. I felt like an alien creature inside my own family. And my mother was using prescription medication. My dad was a workaholic and a rage. He's a rager. Um, it was an abusive situation at home. So I had a lot of anxiety at school and at home. And so that first drink was relief for the first time that I had felt in a long time. And it led quickly for me to smoking weed because everybody else was.
Yes.
And I had the experience of smoking more than everybody else because I wanted to make sure that I had the experience everybody else was having. And I'm a little person. I'm 5'3", and
Mm-hmm.
I smoked enough for the whole group, and I cried all night. And instead of saying, that's too much, I should stop, I thought I need to figure out how to do this better.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I understand.
Yeah. So and then it quickly led to meth. I was dating somebody who was doing meth, crystal meth, and I'm the kind of person that thought that drugs and alcohol were for those other people that were like scum. Like, that was my judgment of people that did drugs. I was like, those people over there.
Most of
Yeah,
people think like that. Yeah.
yeah. I thought like that. And then I was dating someone, and then I found out they were doing meth, and then instead of separating myself from that, I decided to do it so that I could understand him and be closer to him. And what happened as a result was similar to drinking, but 10,000 times better, was this feeling of connection with everybody that I hadn't had before, and being able to talk all night about what felt like deep, meaningful, connecting conversations. It
Okay.
was like bliss town for me personally.
Yeah.
So that from 16 to 18, I was on meth. And when I came down off of meth the very first time was going through withdrawals, it was deeper darkness than I had ever experienced before. And instead of thinking to myself, maybe I shouldn't do meth again, I thought, how do I not come off of meth? How do I stay high? So for 2 years, it was that. And at the end, I was a senior in high school, and I had a drug dealer for a boyfriend because I had gotten rid of anybody else that could no longer serve my addiction.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, and I was quickly on my knees around meth when a helicopter hovered at the window of my drug dealer's apartment. He had a one-bedroom apartment. There were 8 people living in it with meth, like a mound of meth. They were, putting it in little seals. And all of us froze, and it was the police, and we all scattered like ants. Like I've never seen them again. And
Right away.
I
Okay.
raced home. What's that? Sorry, it froze over here. And I
Okay.
raced home and I told my parents that I wanted to die. I was like screaming at the top of my lungs to my mother, basically, that I wanted to die. And I heard a voice in my head that said, there's more to this life than what you're living. And it's the first time, I mean, maybe there have been thoughts like that before, but it's the first time it was very loud. And I chose to tell my parents that I needed help. It was like a split second. I wasn't thinking about it at all before that. And so I felt like it was an intervention that happened through me. And
Mm,
I checked,
definitely.
yeah. And so I checked myself into treatment. I've been sober ever since. And I had an art teacher in high school who knew I was on meth, and I had mentioned this before, that she just encouraged me. She didn't tell my parents I was on meth. She didn't try to get me to stop doing
She
drugs. She just,
she saw you past that.
she
Past
did. She
the
was the first
addiction.
person, I think, like the first adult that I felt really saw me. And she told me I had talent. And it was the first time in my life that I liked showing up and doing something and drawing and learning how to see and learning how to see the light, how it's wrapping around everything. It was really, I mean, I still remember those classes a billion years later. And so when I got sober, I didn't know what else to do with myself except go to art school. I didn't have anything else I liked doing. So I did go to art school and I studied conceptual photography, film, and video. And it taught me that I could take my feelings, these challenging feelings that we all have, and I'm crawling out of my skin and I'm uncomfortable and all the social anxiety and all that. It was very present, and I learned how to use it and funnel my feelings into creating something visual. And it's been that way ever since. Now I still do my work. I'm a full-time artist, and I show and sell my work internationally, and I teach classes to people who struggle with feeling like they're not talented or they have self-doubt or hesitation. I really go to the root of that, the way that we're thinking about ourselves more than our artwork being masterpieces. I feel like if you don't love yourself, I don't really care how much art you're making. So,
Yeah.
like, my purpose, I feel, is to learn how to be more comfortable in my own skin and then be open and available to share my experience, strength, and hope with
Oh my
other
God,
people.
that resonates so much with me because I also went to art school, and because it was the only thing that I felt comfortable doing in my recovery, because I was so afraid of relapsing, that art was that antidote to to all this anxiety. Was the only thing that I thought that I could do, and then I started to do it, and it really, really, like you said, which I think is great, is beyond making like a masterpiece. It's beyond being like a famous artist or anything like that. For me, it is about being someone, and then gave me identity because my identity had become my addiction. So I had no connection with anything else, with anybody else. I thought I did, but I did
Right.
not. I know that.
Yeah.
And, and I thought I was connecting with everybody. And was not, and I was completely disconnected of myself. And then art gave me kind of an identity, and so I hold on to that like really tight, like art, and then I would stay at home at my bed watching podcasts and drawing, and that's how I I I like came through the first months of sobriety because it was the only thing I felt safe. So I would listen to podcasts and do art and go to art school,
Wow.
and it's crazy because I started the podcast from my bed, and I I was watching a podcast and then I thought I want to do this, and but focus on art and and recovery, and I don't mean just addiction recovery. I mean mental health and depression, anxiety, and because I was depressed and anxious before I used the drug, and that's how you
Yeah.
said the first time it's like everything goes away, you know.
Right.
But if you were in a really really good place, you probably maybe wouldn't even become an addict. I think that. So when I got sober, everything came back, you know, the anxiety and but then
Right.
I learned how to deal with that. And when I was in my bed and I decided I want to share my story. And a lot of people of my family didn't think was a good idea, like you're gonna expose yourself. And then I said, screw it. It's for a bigger reason. I don't care. And so I started sharing, and then I started a podcast, and it helped me so much with the shame, uh, with actually making connection with people like us, like we're doing now,
Yeah.
from another side of the world that we would never met in real life if it wasn't for that. And it's amazing.
That's amazing. And I got sober before we had phones and, like this.
Oh,
And,
you had
we
to
had
connect
phones,
with
but
people near. Yeah,
we had phones connected to the wall.
yeah,
But
yeah.
we didn't have this. We didn't have iPhones. We didn't have Zoom. We didn't have internet. We didn't have any of this. So it's incredible to hear you talk about how you were able to connect with people all over the world by choosing yourself first and then
Mhm.
opening doors for other people to connect that are wanting to do the same, that we're all wanting to learn how to choose ourselves even when we don't feel comfortable in our own skin.
Yeah,
You know, it's a
and
brave move.
I do believe that one part of recovery is self-esteem,
Yeah,
and I'm not talking about self-esteem like, oh my God, I'm gorgeous. Not that kind of self-esteem. It's self-esteem as a person, and
yeah,
then and of course, if you start, I started little by little, like feeling like, oh, I want to look good. I want to exercise. I want to look better, and because I wanted to I want people to know that it's possible to really become something so much bigger than you ever thought you were, just because you have a problem with addiction or mental health. You know, it is possible to change it, and
absolutely.
right.
Yeah, I think it's really unfortunate that we have stigma and stereotypes around what it means to have an addiction of any kind. And there's so much shame around it when all of us are addicted to something or we're recovering from something, especially now with our phones,
Yeah.
just leaving ourselves by scrolling for hours and not even realize we've checked out. But for some reason, if you've done drugs or you have an addiction to alcohol, there's all of this shame around it because of what we've decided it means about a person when it doesn't change the value or the worth of that person at all.
Oh,
And it's a solution to something until it isn't, right? It was working.
Yeah, I always say that people. My psychiatrist. He's specialized in addiction, and he's amazing. And he tells me, Mel, if didn't kill you, I would prescribe you cocaine because it makes you feel better. It works when you're doing, or at least at the first time. The problem is that then you get addicted and ruins
Yeah.
your life and takes everything. But the first feeling, it is a solution for the pain that you're feeling,
Right.
you know,
Absolutely.
because we're in pain. I remember being emotionally in pain since I was a child, and I have a good childhood. I think, I had everything, but I didn't have the emotional stability, and I think that's where my anxiety came.
Yeah.
Um, so I was suffering.
Like you didn't feel anchored.
Yeah, I felt like what I was watching a movie.
Yeah,
I was not in the movie. I was just
I
watching.
relate. Yeah. I
You
felt
know,
that way in my marriage too, actually.
yeah, like I was the people that do the backstage,
Yeah.
and then they're just passing by or pretending they have a conversation on the back.
Yeah.
So the first scene is being filmed. So that's how I felt. I was the person in the background, pretending I was living. I was
Yeah.
pretending. Yeah.
I really relate to that. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. I after I got sober, I at 10 years sober, actually, I had another bottom, if you want to call it that, where I felt like I had really created I mentioned it earlier, but I created a moat around myself that I only hung out with people that were sober. Because in treatment, they say, don't hang out with slippery people, don't hang out in slippery places. So I just decided anybody that drinks is slippery.
Yeah.
So I just
Yeah.
didn't. I just was like, AA, and that's all that there was back then was AA to get sober. So AA or nothing. Like I just created that situation for myself. But then going to AA, I hit a wall where I got really tired of the dogma inside AA. And
Yeah.
people were
It
giving me
does
their,
feel like a coat sometimes.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And
Hard,
people
hard,
were,
but
it
yes.
is. I feel like you have to be kind of careful and discerning about what you share in meetings, which is unfortunate because we go there to be able to figure out that I think we suffer from what they call terminal uniqueness. And AA actually breaks that down because you
Yeah.
hear people telling your story and you're like, how could you ever have experienced the same thing I did on that deep, deep level that we're not talking about? And
Yeah.
then at the same time, it can get dogmatic and the unsolicited advice got to me, so I left AA, and then I didn't have anything because I wasn't hanging out with people that were drinking. I wasn't hanging out with people that were sober, and I found myself in a situation where I was lonely. Yeah, it was super lonely, and I didn't know what the point was of being alive. And and a friend and like a friend that I kept at a distance because she drove me crazy said to me that Miguel Ruiz and his teachers, the man who wrote the Four Agreements, was in town, and I should go to one of their workshops. And I was like, I always told her I was too busy, and she knew that I wasn't. And I had just gone through a breakup. She's like, I know you don't have plans, so
Mhm.
so I went to this Toltec thing where I'm learning about the Four Agreements, and I don't know what they were talking about, but I felt like I was home.
No,
Like I
that's
really didn't understand, but something in me understood. So I felt like that. You know how they say, like, when you need the teacher, when you're at your bottom and you need it, the teacher arrives. I feel like I was at another turning point inside my recovery and the teacher arrived, and it brought me to another level of understanding that I'm the one that's creating 98% of the reason why I suffer is because of what I'm thinking, not because of what's happening.
God. It's one thing that it has helped me a lot um, is to understand that this is all in my mind.
Yeah.
like we are mad because
Yeah,
we create something that it doesn't exist,
right.
you know, and it doesn't. And then but we keep it to ourselves. And then when you share with someone, like I would tell my mom, she was like, "You're crazy."
Right.
Like how everybody sees your life and think, "Oh my God, she has such a wonderful life. I do have a beautiful daughter. I live here in Portugal, who's awesome, and I'm an artist, so from the
Yeah.
outside, it's like wow, so good, but inside of my head, it was a completely different scenario,
Right.
you know, uh, and uh, and you know that sometimes people have body dysmorphia, and
Yes.
I didn't have body dysmorphia. I had more like a mind dysmorphia, you know.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, I couldn't see the reality. And
Yeah.
so one of my exercises is to come back to reality. Like, okay, you're here and this is happening, and it does help.
That's beautiful that you have the awareness. I feel like without awareness, you can't change anything. Like having recovery gives you an opportunity,
Yeah.
right? To then become awake to what it is that you're doing that's getting in the way of personal freedom. Like I want to be, I want to be self-expressed to the, 100% creatively self-expressed, but just in general, I want to feel comfortable in my own skin and
Yeah.
be myself everywhere I go and not trying to fit in or try like
And
the radar is up and I'm trying to figure out if I how to fit in and no, I just want to be myself and people will have their feelings or their judgment of me and it won't matter.
it
You
doesn't
know,
matter
it
because
matters what I if I am judging myself,
yeah, because
right?
other people talking is just noise.
Right.
You you have to know what you want, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. And but it takes sometimes a lot of time to know what you want. You
Yes.
know, it's
Yes, and
not.
you sorry, I interrupted you. I feel like you were making
I
a
don't
really good
stop.
point there. We're just like, yes, I know. Yeah, I feel like that brings me to why art has been so important to me because I didn't feel like I fit in for ever because I didn't fit in with myself. I wasn't here with myself. I was still trying to outsource my worthiness from outside. So taking all that discomfort and funneling it into my art practice helped me connect with the thing that's bigger than me that I can't explain. Like some people might call it God or higher
Yeah,
power or just the energy of existence, but it got me from my thoughts into my heart, into an activity where I can listen to something other than my thoughts and respond to what's happening when I make a mark or take a photo or
be-
use
because
my paintbrush.
it's bigger than yourself,
Yeah.
and when we feel that something much bigger than ourselves or our mind or our addiction, then you start to see the meaning.
Yeah.
You know, and art, when you're making art, it's bigger than yourself. Or even like I'm doing this podcast, it's bigger than myself. You know, it's it's putting out to the world, and helping people, or maybe pissing off people. You know, because not everybody will agree with you, but it doesn't matter. It's bigger than you, and uh, and I do feel art is that. And sometimes I was talking. Some people say, "Oh, but why is this art so expensive? If it's like that banana with the tape that
Yes.
sold by millions and millions of dollars." Or, but what I try to explain is that is the meaning behind that is what it represents. So sometimes it will what the meaning of something is worth much more than just the beautiful picture.
Right, that's a good point. Right, and
Yeah.
I think that artists have a hard time pricing their work because they're taking it personally, number one, and they're worried what people will think about them if they price it high, and they don't want to. I mean, there's so many reasons. Money is a whole other topic that
Yeah.
is, we have trauma around money, for sure. And 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 it is true. People will have opinions about what you put as your price no matter what, but that's based on their belief system about around their generational ancestral beliefs around money.
Yeah. And people, I think was is this a writer that I love. She's Fran Lebowitz. I don't know if you know her, but she's American and she's very not judgmental, but she says what she thinks. She's an older woman, and she tells. I think it's amazing that on auctions when they sell the painting for like I don't know $100 million or Van Gogh
Yeah,
or something like that, and people don't applaud when they see the art. They applaud when they say the price.
right,
You know, because society is based in how much is it worth.
right.
You know,
Yeah,
and art and it's very complicated for artists to put a price on their art because I suffer the same. I don't know. Sometimes I just say, just take it, or I don't know. You don't. For me, it's really hard to put a price on
it is.
on.
It is, but I feel like too, it gives us an opportunity to have that exchange with someone that they're actually giving you something in exchange for the work that you did. It is like a spiritual exchange. And I think a lot of us just want to give our art away for free. I think that's our nature is just have it. And
Yeah,
it's
just
such
take
a,
it. You
yeah,
know.
just take it.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
definitely,
think it's
definitely.
another level of recovery really is to know not just that you're valuable, but your art deserves also to be, exchanged for cash, you know.
Yeah, because we need cash to live,
Yeah.
and it is like that. And I really admire like people that are very like driving. No, I only work get out of my bed for this much money. I don't do anything
Yeah.
less than that. And I say, oh my God, I'm so stupid, because I can't. I'm not like that. It's not how I'm wired. So I'm learning to
Yeah.
sell you know, uh,
Same.
what I'm doing.
Yeah, I think for me when I say I try to add the word yet at the end of it, like I'm not there yet. Like I'm not selling my work at what I think it's worth yet. Like it's still uncomfortable for me until it is. And
Yeah,
it's
but
just like a muscle.
yeah, you get used to.
Yeah.
You get
Yeah,
used to. Yeah,
uh,
I am getting used to doing the podcast and then charging for this and doing that and having meetings, and I was not. And then suddenly you start doing it, and it's like a muscle.
yeah. Yeah, a friend of mine told me to walk back and forth in my living room and say the amount of money that I think is higher than I'm comfortable with until that number becomes a
I
non
love that. I'm gonna
charm.
try that. You know. Yes.
It really works because then you just say the price and you don't have any reaction, so they don't have a reaction to your energetic
And
and
you know what? Usually people will say, okay, that's fair.
exactly.
And if they say it's too expensive, then okay, then you don't buy it.
Yeah. Yes, I
It's,
was a wedding photographer for 5 years and I had a price. And
mhm,
people would say, "Do you give discounts?" And I would say, "I don't give discounts, but here's a list of people that I would recommend that
mhm.
are in your price range." And they would be shocked that I'm not trying to sell or trying to, and I just,
Negotiate.
yeah, I'm not interested. And
Yeah.
nine times out of 10, that would make them book with me because they felt like they could trust me because I wasn't trying to
Yeah,
sell, you
and
know?
and when you put a price on your worth it, people respect you more,
Yeah, it's true. It's
and
true.
then it is what it is. If you don't want, but I'm learning. I'm learning a lot about pricing myself and value myself, and it is you have to do it because if you are an artist, you you want to be making art. So how, if you don't charge, how else you're going to survive?
Right.
You know, it's art, but it's also your job. It's also work.
It's a gift.
It's a gift.
It's a
Yeah.
gift. And I mean a gift not for free, but I mean it's a gift that you are allowing yourself the opportunity to be that vulnerable to make the work. I mean, making work is not easy.
No, it's not. It's not at all.
No, it's not at all.
Oh my God, it's not. And you have to find your style, and then you find your style, and then you think you don't like your style, and so you know and every artist. There's an artist, a famous one, but I don't remember who he was that I was watching in a documentary, and he said, "I think it's so funny that people say I'm going to start to make art to relax." He said, "I can't relax doing art. I'm always thinking horrible, and then like try again, and then and this is
Yeah,
true. You and I made a little reel about it, like throwing out my art that I don't
I
like.
saw that.
Yeah, because it is like this. You make like 100, and then one, and then
Maybe.
sometimes the one you don't like, people, oh, that's so
That
awesome.
happens all the time, all the
All
time, all the time.
the time, all the time.
Not
So
the
yeah,
one that I think is so special. They're like,
yeah.
what about that one? Okay, you know.
Okay, if you want it,
Yeah.
you can have
Yeah,
it.
it's always surprising to me that
I
what
have
I think is best.
I have lived in many countries because of I was an expat, so I was traveling to all these countries, and I left so much artwork in each of those places because I didn't think it was worth anything, and so I would just leave it there. And then now I have on Instagram sometimes some photos of those work, and people, wow, how can I
My
can buy this?
gosh.
And I think I don't know, I don't know
Yeah.
where, because I didn't value.
I did the same when I went to art school in Minneapolis and I was moving to across the country to Oregon and I had giant pieces of art and I either gave them to people or I ripped them up and threw them away.
Yeah, it's
I've done that
crazy.
a lot. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
don't do this anymore.
Don't do that. That's the
Yeah, we're not,
message for the
we're done
week.
with that.
Don't throw it away.
Hi, Catherine. It was so nice to have you. I
So
love
nice to
it.
be here. So
Yeah,
really good to talk to you, another fellow artist on the
yeah,
road to discovery, right?
yeah. We're gonna do
Yeah.
it. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
And so when I post it, I'm gonna tag you and talk about your work,
Thank you.
and we keep in touch.
I would love that. I'm really
Yeah,
excited for you.
yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I
Thank
hope it's helpful for your people that watch it.
Yeah, I think so. I think that if at least one or two we help, it's enough.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Okay, so I talk to you later.
all right. Ciao for now.
Ciao, ciao.